This is Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee, and today we're gonna teach about the Gog and Magog war, which is in Ezekiel 38 and 9, but it's also in Zechariah 14 and also in Ezekiel 8 to 11, which is generally not taught on Sunday from 9 to 11 in the morning in the buildings. But we're also going to compare the Gog and Magog with the next war, which is already mostly in place, which is the siege against Israel in Zechariah 12. Okay? And we're going to show you the difference. And they're big differences. Okay? And we're going to show you why Ezekiel 38 and 39 is not now. And we're going to also show you when it does come. Okay? And that's your tribulation, really. Okay, so we're going to cover that. I'm going to cover the war briefly as we get started today. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. There's not much happening with the war right now. People are saying that they're getting ready to attack as soon as next week, and if Trump attacks, he's probably going to do it on a late Friday or Saturday or Sunday or something, but no guarantees. We're going to talk about the airplanes departing the region and stuff like that, but right now, I want to jump into the chat on the live stream and take a look and put a post up, which is a rather fast thing to do. It's probably going to be seconds. It's taking time. There we go. How's the sound? 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 Here we go. Plenty of sound. No problem with the sound. I'm going to put a post up real quick. Thanks to the moderators. Okay. Let me get my post going, which is going to be a fast post. Seconds, not minutes. Okay, looks like we got it. Let's check for typos. Got a typo. Sorry about that. Got to start over. I haven't done that in months or a long time. Okay. Sorry about that. Let me get into it again. Okay, we got a good one. No typos. Let me pin this up. And I got it pinned. Let's make sure we're good here. We're doing good. Let me shut the sound off. Okay, being a Bible believing site, I'm going to do some praise, and I have no control over people joining in or not. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay, the what do they call it? The continuing stream of airplanes coming in to the Middle East has stopped when Trump came back from China, I think, or maybe when he was there. It stopped. And now we're seeing planes leaving the Middle East. So what's going on? They're going to Ramstein in Germany. Okay. Why are planes leaving? Because I know a lot of refueling tankers are going. Because they had them parked in the UAE and they had them parked in Saudi Arabia and in Israel, but I'm not sure the ones in Israel left. I don't know. They're not talking. So the Iranians are threatening to go after the UAE and Saudi Arabia now, and they're threatening to really demolish their oil fields, not just the refineries, the oil fields. In other words, they want to make it so it's going to take a few years to get the oil back online. So what Iran is attempting to do is wreck the economy of the world. The experts in this economic / oil shortage crisis situation are saying that we got about another month to go like this with the it's not just the closure of the Persian Gulf. It's also the fact that regarding LNG and the oil, the refineries have been hit and they can't, the pipelines are problematic and they can't push the amount of oil out that they used to. So their production, we'll call it production, is down. Okay? So this is a problem for them and for the world. And Iran wants the world to pay a price for them not being allowed to build up more and more weapons, not pay attention to sanctions, attack Israel whenever it wants, support countries to attack Israel, go around chanting death to America and death to Israel whenever they want, terrorizing their own people, trying to get people to buy oil off the US dollar and wreck the economy of the United States. And they want everybody to leave them alone while they wander around through life creating problems for other people in the name of their stupid, whatever fanaticism things they believe in. Okay? The leaders are not Muslims. They just say they're Muslims. They're S-bots. Come on. You got to see through that. You ever hear of the leaders wanting to go lay their life down to become martyrs and get the 70 virgins? I haven't. Have you? So what are they doing? You know, they're making a mockery of America. Okay, so let's not get on the bandwagon that America is, you know, friendly with them. I got to do something that's going to take a few seconds, and I'll be right back. I forgot to take my supplements this morning. Okay. So they're saying, oh, Israel's going to be in the war next week, America. Listen, Trump is so scared of something, I don't know exactly what it is. And I'm not so sure there's going to be a war next week. I'm pretty sure he's going to try to hang on to that blockade, maybe enhance it, make it worse, maybe not. He could go to war. I don't know. Pulling the planes out of the region is not a good sign of him going to war. It's more like a good sign he's not yet ready to go to war and wants to mess around. Now, at the same time, 5 sophisticated reconnaissance type planes that are used in war took off from Offutt Base, which I believe is in America, and it's suspected they're going towards the Middle East, likely. But we just don't know what Trump's going to do, because the reality, I think, is Trump doesn't know what Trump's going to do. He'll want to do something on Wednesday, and then Friday it's something different. You don't know. So don't run around saying, oh, Trump's going to attack Iran next week. Who knows? If he's going to attack, he might do it this, I don't know when he's going to do it. I have no idea. We're not seeing strong signs of that. The Gerald Ford aircraft carrier group is back in the States after 326-day deployment. Well, the aircraft carrier, the escorts, I'm not sure how long their deployment was. Maybe the same. The Houthis have not yet shut the Red Sea. I think they're saving that for us, which will increase the shortage, not just of oil, but it'll interfere with other goods too. Not stop things. It's an extra 10 or 14-day trip to go around Africa. That's all that happens with that. Costs more money. You got to pay the crew. You got to burn 10 or 14 days more fuel. The goods are sitting on the ship longer. That costs money, more wear and tear on the ship and the motors and all that. So it runs costs up, okay? We're still fighting in Hezbollah up there in Lebanon, and we're doing a little bit of work down in Gaza as well, probably trying to help the militias knock out Hamas, and I don't know how well that's going. I don't think it's anywhere near the magnitude of knocking them out of the box, but it's damaging them, they're not having a good time. Hold on, somebody wrote me something. Okay, we have a request for endless tossed salad and whole enchilada for LM Lima Mike, LM Lima Mike, and Echo Charlie, EC Echo Charlie. Request for endless tossed salad and a whole enchilada. You guys know what that means. Okay. Do I have other prayer requests here? I think I have some. Let's see. Okay. Whoa. I don't have. There it is. Okay. We have what we call a mourner's prayer, M-O-U-R, and mourners, like a death. Okay. For a family that lost their mother. Okay. So that's a pretty tragic, sad thing. So the prayer request is for A.S. Alpha Sierra, AS, Alpha Sierra and family. So the prayer request is for Alpha Sierra, AS and family to be comforted and have peace and calm and rest during this time of mourning, having lost their mother. Okay? All right, I can pray and you can agree with me. My Heavenly Father, Jehovah B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, I pray for AS, Alpha Sierra, and family. I pray for peace, comfort, calm, and rest at this time of mourning over the loss of the mother. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. Okay, and you believers can agree with that even if it's a video you're watching, not the live stream. Okay. Next, we have NB, Normandy Bravo. NB, Normandy Bravo. Now, I want to make a quick note, guys. If you send me a shopping list of 8 or 10 things you want prayed for, it's not really fair to the people that are doing the praying because they're listening to this. Normally, they're driving, they might be working in a vehicle, they might be working in a warehouse and they have headsets on, or they're taking care of the kids or cooking and cleaning. And a lot of people are doing other things. Yes, some people are just sitting down with their Bible and listening to it, but not everybody. Okay, so for Normandy Bravo, uh, I'll do a prayer and you guys can agree with this. So for NB, I pray for healing, wisdom, faith, and a close walk with the Lord. Okay? For NB, Normandy Bravo, I pray for healing, wisdom, faith, and a close walk with the Lord. And B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and you can agree with that as a believer. Okay, that is it for the prayer requests and the toss requests. Okay. Um, so even this morning, dozens of U.S. Air Force planes are leaving the Middle East. So it could be that they're waiting for the UAE and Saudi to be attacked. I don't know what Trump's up to. I really don't know. Um, Maybe he figures you got to get him out of the area for 2 or 3 days while he bombs the daylights out of Iran and disables their capability to launch missiles. I seriously doubt he can do that in less than 2 weeks, though. Maybe a week. I don't know. Look, it all depends. If he mobilizes 700 airplanes, yeah, he could do it in a day or two, but he's probably not going to have that many. What do you got? He'll have 2 aircraft carriers, maybe 160, and maybe another 100, 260. And then Israel it could go in up to 350. So, yeah, they could get it up there if they want to. So now they're saying a lot of the remaining planes here are logistics, transport, and refueling, like C-17s and KC-135s. Um, I don't get what he's up to yet. We'll have to see. Um, I don't get it. I don't know. It appears to me that it's a defensive action, but it doesn't appear to me that he's withdrawing from the region. Okay? That I do not see. That would involve ships leaving, the blockade would be over. Um, UAE and Qatar and Kuwait and Bahrain and Saudi Arabia would be going nuts. I don't think that's going on. There was a big explosion in Israel early in the morning or something yesterday, or was it today? I think. It was tonight. It was last night. Bet Shemesh, and first the government said that it was a planned explosion, and the people got so mad at him for that. Then um, they said it was the Tamar facility that makes motors for missiles and warheads or stuff, and it was that. And we just Iran had notified regional countries, primarily the UAE and the Saudi Arabians, that if the war resumes, Iran will launch devastating, crushing strikes on oil wells and energy facilities. So maybe they took one of their new sophisticated missiles and fired it at us and it got in, but that's a big push. I don't know. Maybe it was sabotage. Then the story changed after the Tamar facility to some other facility. So um, we're really not getting great information as to what happened yet, but it'll come out. Remember, they can't stop people from eyeballing the place, maybe at a distance, but they could eyeball it driving by. So it'll come out, and they're getting hateful towards Netanyahu about this deception. To tell the people it was a planned explosion at like 11:15 at night, that doesn't add up. I heard an explosion this morning. It rattled the window. It must have come from the border area of Lebanon. It was a gentle rattle. The Iranians made an announcement that all their citizens have to leave the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, and I imagine Qatar too. Then they also went on to say that all ships in the Arabian Gulf must depart. This is particularly urgent for the ships and sailors currently present and near the Straits of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf, which will be destroyed first. Time is running out. Well, so there used to be, I think there still are, hundreds and hundreds of ships that are still stuck in the Persian Gulf. So they're wanting them to get out, meaning they're expecting war to break out, and they're trying to scare America. Some soldier got a sentence of 30 days in the brig for wearing a non regulation military patch bearing the word Mashiach. Um, Now, the Orthodox and the ultra Orthodox Jews are known to chant Mashiach, Mashiach. We want Mashiach, Mashiach. So it's not necessarily that they know who Mashiach is. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. So they felt very threatened by that. Of course, Netanyahu is the anti-Messiah. Let's not kid ourselves. Okay. And they really, I mean, they could have just told the kid, take it off and don't do it again. We can't have that. What they're afraid of is it's associated with Zionism because, Mashiach gets us the land back, and they know that, and they believe that. So that's what's going on. Yeah. Netanyahu doesn't want us getting the land back. He'd rather see us leave. That's evidenced by his behavior, the way he runs Israel and the people. I don't want to say they deserve him, but that's probably the truth. A lot of them. He's just a curse on Israel. This new election coming up, Netanyahu, you better believe, is gearing up to make sure he wins, so he doesn't go to jail. Netanyahu loses. He's not prime minister anymore. His prison cases are just going to fly. The Supreme Court's going to just tell them, push the case now, fast, go. And Netanyahu can't say, I got to deal with the war, I can't show up. He can't say that. He has no job anymore, okay? He's not working as prime minister, okay? So the decisions being made about the wars are nothing to do with him. He has no say in that anymore. So he can't play any game like, I'm busy, I can't come. That's what he's been doing for 3 years. So his time is up and his trial goes, and he knows he'll be convicted or he wouldn't behave this way. He's aware of it. So what's Netanyahu's best move now? It's scary. His best move is to not put us in a war right now with Iran. Because the election is either going to be early September or the end of October. So he would want to drag this thing out at least to the end of July before it starts, but I don't believe Trump has that amount of time. Trump prioritizes the United States interests as probably 15 times more important than Netanyahu in Israel. So I can't imagine Trump saying, yeah, okay, we'll wait a few months, No. The economists are saying you got about another 30 days here. And the oil reserves that people are running on is going to get run out. Okay? Then when it gets run out, there's still going to be oil. But the price for that oil is going to be catastrophic. Not $200. It'll be probably easily could hit $500 to $1,000. I'm not kidding. Okay? People may just give up and shut down. Imagine $500 for oil. That means you're paying $25 a gallon. That means you go to the pump, okay, and you put 10 gallons in for $250 in America. And you're going to try to make that last as long as you possibly can. You'll drive to the supermarket if it's still open and still has a lot of goods, and you're going to load your car up for a month, okay, and then come back. What about your school district and the buses? Where are they going to get the money? From the people, tax them. They'll start putting notices out. If you want your kid to go to school on the bus, it costs $5 a week now. You don't pay, you don't ride. People will pay it. You know, you got 40 kids on a bus, you know, you're helping. You put in $200 a week. It doesn't maybe cover the whole thing, but it'll get them there. May not be, maybe $10, probably $10. That'll probably cover it, or close to it. The trucks, what do they do? The price of food's going to be high. There's not that much food's going to be getting sold. A lot of people may just shut down. Truckers, they may just shut down. What does FedEx and UPS do? They got massive fleets of trucks running around all over the place, you know? Well, your packages are probably going to go up $5 a package. There's going to be an economic crisis in the world. What do I mean? I mean Europe, Asia, Central, South, North America, everything. Africa, like you never saw. Home heating. When they don't have nuclear plants, they use oil to make electricity. That's going up. Uber's going up, taxis going up, buses going up. What about the electric cars? Well, you're charging. You might come out better off with the electric car than you do with the getting the gasoline. But again, you might not. You got to watch and see how it plays. Going to work is going to be murder. How do people go to work? Don't think $500 can't happen. We've seen it well over 100. And we've seen the actual real time, I want to buy gas tomorrow, what people are paying for the oil. I want to buy oil tomorrow. You know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we saw $15 a gallon in Hong Kong. Other places with $10, $12, but you ain't seen nothing yet. $200 is not where the limit is. We were seeing the oil for the immediate delivery, you know, hitting as high as 125 to 150 a barrel. So forget the paper oil. That's people gambling. The real oil in a heartbeat can go to 300. That means your $5 a gallon is $15. That's enough to crush the economy right there. Probably 75% of America is going to become poor. Your food goes up, your home heating goes up, your car goes up, your airfare goes up, the trains go up in price. What doesn't go up in price? Nothing. Everything goes up in price. At the same time, everything you consume is going up in price. What's that look like? We'll find out. It doesn't look good at all. It looks bad. It looks really bad. Can Trump stop it? He can mitigate it somewhat because he's got oil. So you might not hit, like 15 a gallon and $300 a barrel. You might hit 10 or 9 or something like that. But he can only sustain for a brief period of time. What if Trump's trying to be a real wise guy? He's going to go let Europe, Africa, South and Central America, and Asia swing on the vine, trying to hold on, and eventually they're going to fall because they didn't help them with Iran. But with him having Venezuela, and he's got one of those little aircraft carrier with expeditionary marines down there with 2 support vessels, the Iwo Jima, watching over Venezuela. And he'll probably send another ship down there when it gets bad to protect Venezuela. Aircraft carrier group, I would expect. Well, that might be the wrong remedy. The problem with Venezuela may come from within, so you can't bomb them. So then he would send another 2 Marine Expeditionary Unit ships down there. So if he has to, he could take over the oil fields, take over the capital. Cuba's an ally of Venezuela, and they would like to help Venezuela with their military if they could, but they got a blackout now, and it's not going to be anything. So between America's oil and Venezuela's oil, with this stepped up production that's rapidly being expanded, Trump could take care of America, plus Canada's trying to expand their production too. So that means America's covered. And the rest of the world, and Canada, and the rest of the world is going to be in a lot of trouble. And Trump's going to say, you didn't help me. I'm not going to protect you forever. Go get yourself out of it. Or if you want to form a coalition and come attack Iran with me, I'll do that for you. They might do it if they get desperate. That would be a good fulfillment of prophecy. That might be why Trump's sending his planes out of the Middle East. He's not planning on doing anything, he's just waiting. What about Saudi and the UAE? Well, those jackasses joined BRICS, and both of them were agreeing to selling oil off the US dollar. Not all oil was sold off the US dollar, but a lot of it. And Trump didn't forget that. And maybe Trump wants these places destroyed And that leaves him as the oil czar of the world with Venezuela and United States and Canada oil. And then he gets to dictate to India and China. You know? Russia's oil has been greatly suppressed. Would that work for making America great again? Yeah. 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 What else could it do? Cause many nations to rise up and attack America. That's what it can do. Okay. In the last day or so, Iran has been running broadcasts on their television network teaching the people of Iran how to use and fire 5 specific firearms, including a full auto machine gun, which is probably an AK-47. Now, let me clue you in. Kuwait did this when Saddam Hussein attacked. They just started handing out AK-47s to whoever wanted them. Okay. To repel Saddam Hussein. How'd that work out? Well, guys that were businessmen that knew how to use the guns were out in the street trying to push back the advancing of Saddam Hussein's troops, but generally they just travel with armored personnel carriers, armored Humvees, tanks, mobile artillery. And when the people fire at them in the armor, they can shoot back with artillery and machine guns, so it's pretty dangerous. So like they peek out from behind the building, they go, "Bah!" You know, they drop a clip, which is, you know, say 40 rounds in 2.5, 3 seconds. Then they, you know, hide behind the building again, put another clip in. Yeah, it's a rough fight. What does it do? It slows the invading troops down somewhat. And that worked because America eventually came in. So, now Iran's doing it. I'm pretty sure they're not going to give the guns out to everybody, because the protesters would get the guns and attack the government and try to bring the government down. So I expect they'll go to the mosques with the guns and hand them out to people in the mosque that are known to the mullahs in the mosque as devout Muslims, and they'll get the guns. Unless I'm mistaken. If they're in full panic mode and they're not thinking straight, trucks with guns will come to the corner, and anybody that's a citizen of Iran could ask for one, and they'll get it with a bandolier of ammo. They'll probably give them 200 rounds, 300 rounds of ammo with a gun. And when they run out of ammo, that's it. might stop a ground invasion. It won't stop it. It might slow it down. But there's no ground invasion cooking for Iran. I mean, if you're going to follow the classical, study books at the war colleges, you'd have to bring 2.5, 3 million soldiers. America doesn't have that. Okay. If you brought 500,000 soldiers in, statistically, the chances of you being able to conquer and hold would probably be down about 15%. You'd be pretty bad shape. I mean, almost impossible. So if they did try to bring the soldiers in and hold in Iran, try to hold places and stuff like that, the Iranians with the guns can do ambushes. Not openly try to stop an onslaught of tanks and people or paratroopers, but what would now if there's paratroopers, these jihadist people will go out in the street and aim their AK-47s at the guys coming down with the parachutes and shoot them, which means they're going to be in the field where the parachutists are going to land, and once they land, they're going to kill these people. And it's rather unlikely they're ever going to be able to transport themselves to the fields, because it's only a couple of minutes from the planes come and the guys drop with the parachutes and they land. There wouldn't be any time to get there, so I think it's futile. What they could do is harass an occupying army. But there is no occupying army. Hang on, guys. I'm here, yeah. What do you mean, in the say front or back? Oh, okay. He threw it. He threw it over the fence or something. No, I'll go pull it in now. Okay, bye. Bye. Guys, I gotta jump out. Some courier threw a delivery from my wife eyeglasses over the fence, and I want to get it. I don't want any of the dogs playing with it. I'll be right back. So I want to get moving on the war and then get into the Bible. But I thought about why the Iranians are doing this at great length. And I was asking the Lord, too, I suppose. This is what I think they're really up to. There's no ground invasion coming with hundreds of thousands of soldiers, so it's not for that. They're going to put them at strategic locations like the missile cities that are embedded in the mountains as human shields, on bridges. They could put them in train stations, but they can't put them on all the train tracks. There's not enough of them. They could put them on key areas like bridges for the trains over water and chasms, and I don't know. But they could put them at the power stations for electricity. They could put them at the nuclear sites, and they could put them at the missile cities where likely the special forces will attempt to do ground attacks to disable and shut down these facilities. So if they put civilians there as human shields, you can't really bomb them because you'd be blowing up the civilians. You can. I mean, Mussolini and Hitler and the Japanese would in World War II. The North Koreans would, the Iranians would, but, America's likely not going to like doing that and won't do it. So they'll send ground forces in, and these people will spray bullets at the ground forces, which isn't going to help. And when they shoot bullets at the ground forces will return fire. And that's the end of them. That's what I think is going to go down. Okay, we'll have to see. But Iran is definitely going into aggression mode. There's no doubt about that. There's rumors that the 200 airplane deal with Boeing blew up with Iran, but I can't get any basis for that. I don't know. I think Iran is preparing for another phase of the war that's not going to happen. I don't think any of these Pentagon guys are going to say, let's do a ground invasion in Iran. I don't think anybody wants to do that. Their approach to it would probably fit prophecy much better. Just wreck the place and go home. If they destroy Iran and the prophecy gets fulfilled now, it will get fulfilled, and I think now, they're going to scatter into all the nations, and their proxies are going to dry up. Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, the Iranian-backed militias. They're not going to get paid. They're not going to get weapons, training, recruitment, nothing. They'll see Iran's destroyed. They'll give it up. They won't push it anymore, I don't think. And that's the end of it. So then America could go home. That's how they'll look at it. Unless they got to stop the Houthis, and I don't know when the Houthis get it. They get it, but I don't know when. They're Edom, Edom, in Jeremiah 49. So we're going to see something blow up, but it might be the Iranians, not Trump. The Iranians are not comfortable with the blockade. They got to get rid of the blockade, or the blockade's going to get rid of them. Okay, let me jump in the live stream, see what's going on, and then we'll start with the Bible work. There's not a whole lot else going on. I think what my wife did is she told the FedEx guy to call me, but he probably called her again, and then she told him to throw it over the fence, and probably sent an SMS to give him backup, and um, that's it. We're getting packages from FedEx very rapidly these days. They're moving very quickly. I mean, Asia to Israel in less than a week, America to Israel in less than a week, Europe to Israel in maybe 3 to 4 days. I mean, it's going fast. I mean, Europe is quick. They generally come out of two places. They come out of Charles de Gaulle, and they come out of Germany to go to Europe. So the UK sends to Germany, and Italy sends to Germany, and like Spain will send to Germany or France, and what are some of the other ones in there? I can't remember all of them. There's about 5 or 6 Amazons you could use in Europe. Netherlands is a big one. It'll usually send to Germany. I can't remember all of them. Let's think. Spain, I don't know if Portugal has one. I don't think Spain does. Italy has, France, England, Germany. I'm missing something. There's 1 or 2 more. I know Netherlands, and there's at least one other one. Anyway, that's your Amazon. But I'm sorry, that's your hubs for um, the FedEx. DHL tends to run along the same lines, and the post office tends to be just puke. It's just terrible. And that's our curse, did that Netanyahu. Yeah, he privatized it, and they made it worse. Of course, he tells us they're going to make it better, and they make it worse. So bad, so bad. People should, if they have friends that work at the post office, they should stop talking to them and shun them, because it's that bad. And then the people at the post office would probably react to that. I don't think we're going to get rid of Netanyahu till the 2 witnesses come. I just don't think so. I don't think he's going to lose the election. I don't know how he's going to keep us in war. See, if he gets us in a war, he could suspend the election. Okay? The other thing he could do is he could just let Israel get so destroyed on purpose. Trump wouldn't care. Trump would think it was a great idea. They'd check with Satan. Satan say, yeah, go do it, right? And they just let Israel get destroyed, uh, very, very bad. So there's no more infrastructure to uh, take Netanyahu and hold him for trial and put him in jail. What jails, What courts? And he just disappears someplace. But you can't run away from the Lord. You can run, but you can't hide. he'll get his for eternity. You know, he's a miserable wreck, has been for years, trying to hang on to what he's got. And, you know, he ain't going to last. You know, he's going to go with the rest of them. Okay. Ezekiel 38 and 39, frequently called Gog and Magog. Why it's not for today, and how is it different from Zechariah 12, which is the siege, which is already in play to a great extent. A siege is not an invasion. A siege is a surrounding. A blockade is a siege. So we've got the Hezbollah on our north in Lebanon. We got Hamas in the south. There's still at least 20, 30,000 of them running around. They got guns. And then you got Egypt with over 100,000 on our border in the south with tanks and so forth. You've got Syria. Now Syria has their MiG-29 airplanes flying to protect Syria. And they don't like us. This is ISIS and Al-Qaeda running Syria with a new paint job. Okay? And then not directly on our border, well, you got Jordan, and they got 10, 11 million. Jordan doesn't like us. They're going to be in on it. And then you got Iraq, which is near our border. And you got Saudi Arabia, which really doesn't have a border with us, but it's close in one area by Eilat. And then you got the Houthis, which are pretty far away. And then you got, you know, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and Oman, which are far away. Okay, so the ones that are on our border are pretty much going to get it, okay? So let me take you through Zechariah 12. Some of you don't know about this because they never talk about it on the internet. Who? I'm the only one. They don't talk about it. The pro-churchianity people, you know. Okay. Zechariah 12:1. I'm going to read it quick. The burden of the word of the Lord for Israel, saith Jehovah, which stretches forth the heaven and layeth the foundation of the earth, and formeth the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege, both against Judah and Jerusalem. That's the area of land we have now, Judah and Jerusalem. Okay? I covered how we got back to Jerusalem yesterday. And just to make sure you understand, this is Jacob's trouble with consistency. We go to Jeremiah 30. We go into verse 6 for a starter. No, yeah, we could do 6. Ask you now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great. That day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Okay, now the believers are not sitting there trembling. Okay, all right. Let me go back to Zechariah 12. I'm trying to go quickly and, make these points for you and, basically teach the teachers. Verse 3, Zechariah 12:3. And in that day, it keeps saying that day, that day, that day. That's the day of vengeance. The day of vengeance is the day in between the the punishment and the redemption. I think that day terminates in redemption with the appearing of Yeshua in the clouds and we getting everlasting life, and that brings in, they shall all know him. From the least to the greatest, they'll no longer say, know the Lord. And I'll give them a heart of flesh, a new heart, and put my law in their inward parts, and that kind of thing. Okay? That's your Jeremiah 31. They don't teach any of this, and I know they don't. And when I tell that to people, they just unsubscribe, unsubscribe. These are people that they went out from among you because they're not of you. They don't want the truth. I'm reading it right out of the Bible. They don't want to hear the Bible. They want to hear what Pastor Bob says. And in that day, hey, he's in a denomination. He's got a big building. He can't be wrong. Broad and wide is the road to destruction, and many find it. Straight and narrow is the correct path, and few find it. But they feel better going to a big church with 1,500 or 3,000 people on Sunday. Yeah, it's got to be right. There's so many people coming here. They're not believers. Okay. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. It's really not all the people of the earth, it's all the people in the land of Israel, which could mean the true Israel, greater Israel. Okay. If it was everybody on the earth and they were all going to get destroyed, as you soon see, there'd be nobody left for Gog and Magog. Yeah, okay, so it's not the whole earth. They're just twisting it. Okay, in that day, saith Jehovah, I will smite. And, if you're going to do Psalm 83, which is really a prayer, not a prophecy, but if you're going to follow that, it's also not the whole earth. Okay. In that day, saith Jehovah, will I smite every horse with astonishment and the rider with madness, and I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. Now, he's talking about horses, not Chevrolets. Can you think of any reason why they might not be using vehicles at this time or aircraft? I'll give you a hint. A three-letter word that starts with O and ends in L. Okay, oil. Black gold. Texas tea. Oil. Okay. Zechariah 12:5. And the judges, it says governor, it should be judges of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength in Jehovah of hosts. So the people in Jerusalem, there's a big revival and they know the Lord. Okay, that's not yet happened, but it will. That's going to be pretty cool. In that day, there we go, that day again, will I make the judges of Judah like an earth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf. So when do the two witnesses get made to be able to send the fire out? It appears on that day. It says, in that day will I make the governors, or the judges, Elijah and Enoch, the two witnesses. They're prophets, and you got to be basically a prophet to be a judge, so there you go. The judges of Judah like an earth of fire. And now they might be out there with the fire coming out of their mouth, but this is an extreme amount of fire. So this could be just for that day, because they're burning up millions of people, probably, or hundreds of thousands. Like an earth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf, and they shall devour all the people round about on the right hand and on the left hand. So that's not devouring people, 198 miles away. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again. It means they're twisting this to make it look like a Schofield. It's saying Jerusalem is going to remain inhabited in her own place still, even in Jerusalem. That's what it's saying. Okay. And they're twisting the English. Jehovah also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. So he's an equal opportunity father, and he wants to be fair to all the kids. That's it. I mean, it's not overly complicated. He loves them all equal. He doesn't want to elevate any over. In that day shall Jehovah defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David. The feeble are the old people that are frail and can't walk and don't have their balance, crutches, walkers, canes, this, that, the stumbling around in the street. Okay, they become like David, who killed Goliath, who killed a lion, who killed a bear, and is a great warrior. So obviously, they've been changed. We'll keep reading. And the house of David shall be as Elohim, the angel of the Lord that went before them. This is the house of David is going to be like Elohim, the angel of the Lord that went before them. That's the angel, Michael, the highest angel, the glory God of Israel that was with Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. He went before them, then they followed with the tabernacle. There it is, silver platter. And he killed something like 140,000 people in one day. That's what the house of David will be like. And Judah will be like King David. Okay? And we will be fighting again, and that's when we get the land back. We will be fighting to get that land. In that day will I make the judges of Judah like an... Okay, we covered that. Sorry. Now I got to go to 7. The Jehovah shall also save the tents of Judah first. Okay, we covered that. Sorry, the iPad spun on me. Now I'm in verse 9. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations, all the heathen nations that come against Jerusalem. That's not all the nations in the earth. It's just the ones that come against it. Now we read verse 10. This is the most important verse. The apostles loved this. This was their great hope. And the guys that run the buildings open on Sunday from 9 to 11 in the morning never teach it. Tell me I'm wrong and they teach it. Go find one that teaches it. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications. Now they're believers. He poured his spirit on them, right? Okay. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. Remember, he was hanging there and they stuck a spear in his side and the water and blood came out. They shall look upon me, whom they're going to see him. This is not in the past. This never happened yet. And they shall mourn for him as one that mourneth for his only, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. In that day there shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem. Well, there never was a great mourning in Jerusalem when Yeshua was there. This is redemption, okay? This is redemption, okay? I'll cover it very quickly because I did it in depth yesterday. John 6:40. And this is the will of him that sent me, that everyone which seeth the Son of Man and believeth on him may have everlasting life. And I will raise them up at the last day. So, the Spirit's poured out on them. Now they're believers. They see him in the clouds. They got everlasting life. Matthew 24:30. I'm not going to dwell on this much. Matthew 24:30. And there shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in the clouds, in the heavens, and then shall all the tribes of the land mourn for him. They shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And they want you to think this is the return to earth. That's what Schofield's really trying to cover up and sell to you. Okay? And this is also in Revelation 1:7, and then I'm going to leave it. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they which pierced him, and all kindred, all tribes of the land, Eretz, shall wail because of him that's mourned. Even so, amen. It's exactly Zechariah 12. They don't teach it to you. Now go unsubscribe from me because I told you that. I'm trying to open the scriptures to you and you want to run away. You don't want the scriptures. What do you want? You want lies? Go serve Satan. All those people get lies, or go save false prophets that work for Satan. Okay, now, that's what's going to happen next, and it's already in play. Now, let's take a look and understand why it's not Ezekiel 38 and 39 like the Lion Churchianity bums teach. Okay? The lion scum. And the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog. And you don't have a precise, exact idea of the land on that. The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Have any of you ever visited Meshach or Tubal? Do they have like Holiday Inns there? Is there a Disney World there? McDonald's operate there? You don't know. And say, thus saith Jehovah Elohim. Nope, Elohim. No, sorry, it's Adonai Jehovah. Behold, I am again. It doesn't say God. God is not his name. His name is Jehovah. God is like a descriptor, okay? Like a football player got a name. His name might be Tyndall or something, right? And he's a quarterback. So it's like, would you say a quarterback is his name? Hey, the quarterback's here. The quarterback's coming. That's all true, but that's not his name. Tildendale is his name, okay? So, come on. against God, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith Adonai Jehovah, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. And the chief prince could be a demon, could be a literal king, could be a demon. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers. A buckler is a small shield. It may be like this. So you sword fight, it's not cumbersome and get in the way. If a guy's coming down at you, you can put the shield up in the path and then get him. A big shield is usually used to hide from spears and arrows. You hide behind it. A buckler could even be this big, you know. And shields, bucklers and shields. I think the shield would be the big one. All of them handling swords. Persia, that's Iran. Now, when you read the prophecies in Jeremiah 49, starting in verse 34 to the end, Iran makes a comeback in the latter days. This is it. It's not called Elam, it's called Persia. Okay, this is the comeback. It gets wiped out again. Ethiopia and Libya with them. All of them with shields and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarter, and all the bands and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy camp that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter year thou shalt come unto the land that is brought back from the sword. Okay, is Israel brought back from the sword now? No. So you could stop right here. If any idiot false believer is teaching you in some building on Sunday that Gog and Magog is coming next, I suggest you run the heck out of there. And you don't owe him any explanation. What you owe him is a good demon toss. Just, if you're going to leave him, give us who he is and we'll toss him for you. That is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Okay, that's Israel dwelling safely. Has that happened yet? You're crazy if you think it has. Thou, or you're deceived, thou shalt descend I'm going 1948 forward. Thou shalt descend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. They come like a cloud to cover the land. That's not a siege. In the siege, they're surrounding us. They're not on our land. There's a big difference. Don't let the lying people that impersonate being pastors fool you. They're not real. They want to drag you to hell. And then when you reject me, you're playing right into them. I'm reading you the scriptures. They're not. But you reject me. And then you turn around and say you're a believer. I'm reading you the scripture. They're not. Why are you rejecting me? You're rejecting the scriptures, not me. What did Yeshua say? If you reject knowledge, I will reject you. You're not rejecting me. You're rejecting the scriptures. What did I do other than read you the scriptures? Nothing. Thus saith Adonai Jehovah, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. Unwalled villages. Every house got a bomb shelter. We got walls and gates all over the place here. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely. We dwell safely? You let people lie to you like this? Why? What's wrong with you? And then they'll say to you, oh, it's going to happen in the future. It will happen in the future. But they're ignoring Zechariah 12, which is going to happen in the immediate future, because they don't want you to know. Because they don't want you to believe it's going to happen, because these dimwits think if you don't believe it, it won't happen. They're morons. They don't know if they're coming or going, these Satan bots. All of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. There's gates all over the place. To take a spoil and to take a prey. To turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited. The desolate places are still not inhabited. This is after the great Exodus, many years after. And upon, about 70 to be precise, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, the heathen nations, which have gotten cattle and goods and dwell in the midst of the land. Yeah, we got cattle. Yeah, how many people got cattle? Yeah. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish with all the young lions thereof shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey? To carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil. 30% of Israel under this cursed Netanyahu is living at the poverty line. What kind of, this is not for today. This is for after redemption. Therefore, this is the great falling away after redemption. Therefore, Son of Man, prophesy and say unto Gog, Did you ever think that Ezekiel might be a son of God like Yeshua because he's called Son of Man? You ever think of that? Yeshua is the firstborn son, but when you read Job 1, verse 6, it says, one day God called his sons together, and Satan also came. It's plural. He has more than one son. Therefore, I mean, when I say more than one son, I mean the ones that were born before the creation of earth and Adam and Eve and all that. Okay. Therefore, Son of Man, prophesy and say unto Gog, thus saith Adonai Jehovah, in that day when my people of Israel dwell safely, shall not thou, wait a minute, shall thou not know it. And thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army. And thou shalt come up against my people of Israel as a cloud to cover the land. That's not what happens in Zechariah 12. It shall be in the latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know me when I shall be sanctified in thee, O Gog, before their eyes. He's going to kill them. Thus saith Adonai Jehovah, art thou he of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants, the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years that I would bring thee against them. And it shall come to pass at the same time when Gog shall come against the land of Israel, saith Jehovah, Adonai Jehovah, that my fury shall come up in my face, for in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath, for in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel, so that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of the heaven and the beast of the herd and all creeping things that creep upon the earth and the men that are upon face of the earth shall shake at my presence, and the mountains shall be thrown down. Every wall shall fall to the ground, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall shall fall to the ground. And I will call for. Now, see, that's not a new heaven and a new earth. That's shaking the earth, and things are going to fall on the earth. It's not changing the water supply. It's not changing the oceans. It's not changing the heavens. The new heaven and the new earth happens when Yeshua appears in the clouds. And I will call forth for a sword against him throughout all my mountains, saith Adonai Yehovah. Every man's sword shall be against his brother. Now, we're not seeing that literally like that, but we're seeing the Muslim Iranians attacking the other Muslim Arabs, you know? Okay, and I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood, and will rain upon him and upon his bands and upon his many people that are with him, an overflowing rain and great hailstones, fire and brimstone. And we don't see fire and brimstone. We don't see the rain and the hailstones or anything like this in Zechariah 12. So bear that in mind. Because the lying Satan preachers will sometimes try to confuse you into thinking Zechariah 12 is Gog and Magog. They're scared to death about the appearing in Yeshua because they get cut off, then they get burned up, they're gone. That's the tares that get taken out. The tares are mixed in with the wheat, their roots intermingle, and they get taken out, and they get burned up. That's them. And thus, well, now they're going to believe they're going to beat it. You see, they don't understand that God punished Israel for 2,000 years and blinded their eyes and closed their ears so they wouldn't turn to him, understand the gospel, and, you know, get healed. He wanted the punishment to work. So Satan goes around telling him, oh, look, we won when we killed Yeshua, we killed God, or whatever garbage he's selling him, you know. Thus, it's a waste of time to listen to it, try to find out, listen to what Satan says. He's a liar. It's not truth. It's garbage, you know. Thus will I magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am the Lord. They shall know Ani Yehovah, I'm Yehovah. They say the Lord, but it's Yehovah. They're not translating correctly. The English translations all stink. But you got to work with it. Okay. Now we're in 39, verse 1. Therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against Gog and say, thus saith Adonai Yehovah, behold, I am against thee, Gog, and the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. You know, we read in God saying he's for us now in these days, you know. And I will turn thee back and leave but the sixth part of thee. So 1/6 of the nations is left alive after this, of the nations that is attacking Israel. 1/6 is surviving, and will cause thee to come up from the north part, and will bring thee upon the mountains of Israel. God's bringing them there, and will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and will cause thine arrows to fall out of thy right hand. Thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel, thou and all thy bands and the people that is with thee. I will give thee unto thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel, thou and all thy bands and the people that is with thee. I will give thee unto the ravens, birds of every sort, and to the beasts of the field to be devoured. Now, we don't see any of this in Gog and Magog because, not in Gog, in Zechariah 12, because they get burned up. They become ashes under your feet, which you could read about in Malachi 4. Now I'm in verse 5, 39:5 of Ezekiel. Thou shalt fall upon the open field, for I have spoken it, saith Adonai Jehovah. And I will send a fire on Magog, and among them that dwell carelessly in the isles, and they shall know that I am Jehovah, Ani Jehovah. So will I make my holy name known in the midst of my people, Israel, and I will not let them pollute my holy name anymore, and the heathen shall know that Ani Jehovah, I'm Jehovah, the Chadosh, the Holy One of Israel. It's really the Holy of Israel. He doesn't say he's the Holy of the church. The church might imply that, but it's not the case. The church puts all the bad stuff on Israel and all the good stuff on them, which is all wrong. Behold, it is come and it is done, saith Adonai Jehovah. This is the day which I have spoken, and they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth and shall set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, the bows and the arrows, and the hand staves. That's like a big stick or a spear, like a big stick, a fighting stick, and the spears. A spear is a big long stick with a big arrowhead on the tip. And they shall burn them with fire, even They shall burn them with fire 7 years. Now, the spear could also have like a hatchet looking edge to it and a point, but 7 years we burn them. Gee, I guess we're not getting any oil. The oil is going to be destroyed, isn't it? Yeah. And if Iran destroys the oil, you could only imagine how many countries are going to come in there to destroy Iran. And then they get this. They hide and they go to all the different nations of the world, and the sword follows them, and they get cut off because they're so hated. People just keep going around killing them. This is the recompenses, the time of recompenses, the payback over the controversy of Zion, over the fighting with the Lord about Zion, how they don't want Israel to exist, let alone be head of the nations. That they shall take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any out of the forest, for they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoiled them, and rob those that robbed them, saith Jehovah. So for 7 years they're using this for firewood. So this is not F-16s. This is not tanks. How are you going to take a tank home and burn it? Come on. The F-16s are made out of aircraft aluminum. You're going to burn aluminum, And it shall come to pass in that day that I will give unto Gog a place there of graves in Israel, the valley of the passengers on the east of the sea, and it's probably the Dead Sea, and it shall stop the noses of the passengers, and them, and there shall they bury Gog and all his multitude, and they shall call it the valley of Hamagog. Now, in Zechariah 12 and Malachi 3 and 4, they're burned to ashes, which is not a contaminating thing. The ashes is dust, basically, right? Okay, so we don't have to worry about the dead bodies, but later on, which is about 70 years later, the second 70 of Daniel 9:24, we see that the bodies are laying around. So there's a big difference. And 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them, that they may cleanse the land. They got to clean the land. So there was no new heaven and earth coming. It just knocked the big buildings down, okay? Yea, all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be to them a renown the day that I shall be glorified, saith Adonai Jehovah. So everybody's burying them. There's so many. Well, we're not burying anybody in Zechariah 12. And they shall sever out men of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that something went wrong here with the iPad. Hold on, I gotta get it back. What a pain. iPad problems are rampant. I mean, they're common. The screen is like ghosty on this one. It's an old one. The new one I just use for the broadcast. Now let's see if I can. 39, now where was I? Okay, all the people that are buried in the land. Now I'm in 39:14. And they shall sever out men for continuing employment. Okay, we covered that. Let me get further down. I think we'll maybe able to do 15. And the passengers that pass through the land, when any seeth a man's bone, then shall he set up a sign by it. The heck? This thing did it again? You just touch it, it changes chapters. It's a piece of crap. Okay. These things last about 18 months and then they start giving you trouble, but they're too expensive to keep replacing, so I just put up with it. Okay, a sign by it, and the buriers have buried it in the valley of Gog, and also the name of the city shall be Hamona. Thus shall they cleanse the land. And thou, son of man, thus saith Adonai Jehovah, speak unto every feathered fowl and to every beast of the field, assemble yourselves and come gather yourselves on every side. Thy sacrifice that I do sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice upon the mountain of Israel, that you may eat flesh and drink blood. You shall eat the flesh of the mighty men, of the mighty, and drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams, of lambs, and of goats, of bullocks, and of them fatlings of Bashan. And you shall eat fat till you are full, and drink blood till you be drunken of my sacrifice, which I have sacrificed for you. Thus you shall be filled at my table with horses and chariots, with mighty men, and with all men of war, saith Adonai Jehovah. This is a sacrifice for the animals. So this might be the point in time when the animals just eat straw, like the lion eats straw. This is the blood sacrifice, so the change is coming. A new covenant with the animals. Possibly the new covenant with the animals happened at redemption, and this is just giving them a one-off time to eat them and drink the blood. But it could likely be this is the blood sacrifice for the new covenant with the animals. And will set my glory among the goyim, and all the goyim shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them. So the house of Israel shall know that I am the Lord, and I am Jehovah Elohim, from that day and forward. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore, I hid my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword. And that's what Satan takes and tells them it was his doing. Yeah, sure. According to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Therefore, thus saith Adonai Jehovah, now will I bring again the captivity of Yaakov. This is just talking about prophecy in general. It's not sequencing, you know, the last few verses. It's not sequencing after what happened, you know. This is just general prophecy talking, I believe, you know. Will I bring again the captivity of Jacob and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name, after they have borne their shame and all their trespasses whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in their land, and none made them afraid. When I have brought them again from the people and gathered them out of their enemies' land, this is yet to happen. This is the next great Exodus. And am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations. Then shall they know that I am Jehovah Elohim, which causeth them to be led into which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen, but I have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them anymore there. Neither will, that's the great Exodus, which hasn't happened yet. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, saith saith Adonai Jehovah. Okay. That's your Gog and Magog, and that's your great falling away, which I can't cover that today because it's just too much for one day. It'll brain fog everybody, and it's a lot of work. And enough's enough for one. You can't cover the whole Bible in one day. So what I'm doing is the next time I'm gonna go through Zechariah 14 with you and show you what it's like after Gog and Magog. It's going to show you the tail end of Gog and Magog and what it's like after. Then I'm going to show you in Ezekiel 8 to 11 what brought this Gog and Magog on, how it built up and how it ends. And we're also going to learn about God putting a mark in our forehead when this happens for the believers that are sad about the falling away and how nothing bad happens to them. And they never teach you that. It's in there, right in Ezekiel chapter 9. It's right in there, and they never teach you that. They never teach you that the Israelites that he punished by closing their eyes and stopping up their ears so they wouldn't know the gospel, turn to him and get healed, so they went through the whole punishment. He doesn't tell you, they don't tell you that in Ezekiel 37. They're the dry bones that come back to Israel right when Yeshua appears. They're going to be here with us. Tons of them. They don't teach you that. They teach it's the church or something like that. Does it not say in Romans that all Israel shall be saved? So what does Satan do? He goes to the churches and says, well, we're not Israel. We stand near Israel. We stand next to Israel. So Satan gets the people to admit that they're not in Israel and all Israel shall be saved. And they buy into it. These are not the elect. These are many are called, but few are chosen. These are the ones that are called, but not chosen. They don't get it. Didn't get very many people in here today. They don't want to hear this. They want to hear somebody say, if you had a needle of heroin in your arm and the rapture came, you'd go up in the rapture. If you had a needle of heroin in your arm and a bottle of scotch in the other and were mating with a prostitute at the time, you'd go up in the rapture. Once saved, always saved. That's what they want to hear. That's the stupidity. They're going up in the rapture, and then they're going to come down and reign over Israel with a rod of iron and kick butt on the Israelis and whip them into shape. It doesn't say that anywhere in the Bible. It says Yeshua's going to reign over the heathen with a rod of iron, not over Israel. But they don't care what the scripture says. They run away when I teach the scriptures. Everything I did today came out of the Bible, and they run away. You can't help them. They don't want help. They want to have their ears tickled, and they want to run around believing what they want to believe, not the Bible. They're not believers. Yeah, they're going to burn the wood for 7 years. That's a lot of weapons. You know what happens after the redemption? The weapons are turned. What's the literal? The swords are turned into plowshares and the spears into pruning hooks. What's a pruning hook? A long, round, or square pole with a hook on it like this. So you put it up and you could cut down the fruit where you can't reach it. I mean, yeah, you could go up on a ladder, I suppose, you know, if you don't mind carrying a 35 or 50-foot ladder around with you, you know, yeah. But I mean, you could use the pruning hook, okay? The plowshare is the bladed things that they have the ox or the horse or something pull that churn up the earth so you could drop the seeds in, and then I guess you put something, you know, to like a roller or something to go over it and push the seeds in so the birds don't eat it, and then you put the water over that. I'm no farmer, but I guess it's something like that. My wife knows how to do the farming. I'm not a farmer. So this is what, you know, it's a big difference. I don't usually spend a lot of time teaching Gog and Magog because it's like 70 years from redemption. It's over. It may start a few years before, but it's over. And that's when Yeshua returns. Okay? To earth, comes to earth. So Israel is given a 70-year period to repent. That's the second 70. Which is basically what happened when Yeshua was born. 70 AD was when they destroyed the Romans destroyed the temple in Jerusalem and took about 200,000 Israelis as slave captives and killed many of them. So they were given 70 years to repent from the time Yeshua was given to them, which is when he was born. And there was all sorts of stuff happening when he was born. The Magi, the Chucham, in Hebrew, or Chucham, or Chuchim. The Yiddish is Chucham. The Hebrew is close, but I don't remember the exact pronunciation. You could probably say Chucham, and everybody would know what you mean. The wise men came following the star, the whole bit, giving them frankincense and gold and everything else. And then Herod was killing the male babies, and they had to run to Egypt. And then when Herod died, they came back. So it started then. You know, they knew they were saying he's a holy child. They knew what was going on. A holy thing. This was something, you know, fathered of the Holy Spirit. My gosh, that was a one-off thing. Only begotten. He was the only one begotten from the Holy Spirit and a woman. Never happened again. Satan can't do nothing. Satan can't create a paperclip. Satan couldn't heal a nick with a fork. I mean, Satan can't heal nothing. You ever hear Satan healing? Satan is a schmuck, okay? And the other demons that followed Satan that got thrown out of heaven are just as stupid as he is, okay? Stupid. Do you understand? They're estupido, idiots, idiota. What are some of the other words? Mishigas, crazy. And that's Hebrew or Yiddish. It's pretty much the same thing. Maniac in Hebrew. He's a nut. He's a maniac, you know. He lies to his people. He lied to the other angels. They learned a bad lesson for believing it. And he lies to his own followers. That's all he does. It says deceiving and being deceived. What does that mean? The people that follow the unclean spirits lie to people. They're deceivers. And then that is sin. And it gives ground to the devil even further. And that allows the demons to deceive them. And they walk around close to their death now, happy and, you know, thinking they're going to win or they're going to fight hard and it's going to work out. And, you know, it ain't. See, the Satan bot is very worried about what people think. Very worried about what the demons think. Not very worried at all about what God thinks. They're dumbbells. Like a beast led to the slaughter. They don't know what's going to happen. You take the beast by the rope and you pull him. He just follows you. He thinks everything's okay, and he winds up getting slaughtered. And that's who these people are. And Satan They think the demons love them. Satan knows what their future is. Satan knows when they die, the angels come and take their spirit and throw them down in the pit. You know, the bad ones, the good ones get a different treatment. He knows all this stuff. He doesn't care about them. The only way he can't convince people by power and might, like Jehovah and Yeshua can. The only way he gets people to listen to him is by doing a con job on him. That's it. And if you realize he's just a 2-bit con job, you can operate in dominion over him, you know. The only time the Satan bot is happy, the person that follows the demons, is when you're believing their lies. When you stop believing their lies and start going in the truth, they hate you. They get very inflamed and they hate you. But what can they do? Their time is just about over. And I don't care. I mean, I look forward to them not being on the earth when God gets rid of them. I look forward to it. They're a bitter fig. You can't eat it. It's bitter food. You can't eat it. You got to get rid of it. They're good for nothing. They're good for nothing. Okay? They just do evil from the time they wake up till the time they go to bed. Everything is evil with them. That's all they do. They thrive on it. They love it. And that's it. Lies, cheating, curses, vexes, hexes, spells, enchantment, deceit. They're just sick people. But you can't do anything with them. You just got to get rid of them. Then that's going to happen. So, God willing, tomorrow we'll cover the rest of this. And you'll see the falling away. You'll see what caused it. You'll see the whole thing, how it ends in detail. You know, you'll see it. And we'll keep watching for Iran. Sooner or later, Iran's going to blow up, but I don't know when. Iran keeps playing the game. Ooh, let's get more weapons, build more weapons, build more weapons. I don't know how many weapon factories they still have. Build more weapons, move more weapons out of storage, you know. Yeah, all right, let's see what happens. They may or may not get anywhere with this. Okay, so I'll get a prayer out for us. You can agree with this prayer, even if it's coming at you on a video. It would still work, make it more potent, I suppose. When 2 of you on earth ask of our Heavenly Father, He'll do it for us, okay? When we agree 2 or more on earth, okay? So, my Heavenly Father, Jehovah, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, I pray for me and my wife and all the true believers and our household. I pray that we would have your strength, stamina, and endurance. Your healing and recuperative power would flow through us, healing us as needed. And I pray for our animals and pets and ourselves to be safe and secure and happy, healthy, and whole. I pray for the peace of Yerushalayim. I pray we understand and know the scriptures better. I pray that I make better videos. I pray the offerings pick up. I pray that those of us that need work or a job find a job, and it be a good job all around. And I pray that those of us that have a business find an adequate amount of clients and customers. I pray that we all have an adequate amount of money and then some extra. And I pray that we have more wisdom and faith. And I pray all this to you, my Heavenly Father, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and you guys can agree with this. Now some spiritual warfare. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, my Heavenly Father, Jehovah, I loose from me and my wife, all the true believers and our families and households, any curses or spells directed at any of us. It's all cast null and void, no value, no effect forever. And any of us that have an unclean spirit, like in the family, right? I command these unclean spirits to depart from these people immediately, never to return unto them again. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and you can agree with that also. And I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and the teaching knocks me out. Again, it's from here up. It's in your head, You feel tired, so you got to rest afterwards. And it's hard. You got to balance it. You got to, know where you're headed. And it's just not easy to teach this when you're doing a comparison yet. It's more complicated. So I hope you got something out of this, and we'll finish the teachings on the Gog and Magog aspect, hopefully, God willing, tomorrow. That's my plan anyway. And that's it, kids. Thank you. I'm out.